Hello, Spooky Squad. Welcome back to Nerdscape Odyssey. Tonight we're cracking open The Uninvited. The 2009 remake promised creepy family secrets, ghostly revenge, and Elizabeth Banks serving maximum suspicious stepmom energy. Emily Browning is staring daggers, the house is whispering, and the twists are, they're coming. Whether this one's a slow burn nightmare or classic or why did I watch this fever dream, we're about to find out together. So grab your blanket, check under your bed, and drop in the chat whether you think the stepmom did it or if the ghosts are innocent. So let's dive in. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment down below. Take part in this chat. I actually enjoy doing this more when you guys are taking part. And let's get into this. So the movie starts, right? And you see the DreamWorks and Paramount logos. And you know it takes apparently two of Hollywood's biggest studios to produce a plot this full of holes. The only thing they caught with that fishing rod was a derivative script. This movie is a remake of the brilliant 2003 South Korean film A Tale of Two Sisters, which is itself inspired by a Korean folktale called Janghwa Hongreon Jian. And if you speak Korean and I absolutely brutalized your language, I do apologize, as I am confident that I mispronounced that. But by remake, I mean they took a complex, atmospheric, and psychologically devastating story and they put it through the Hollywood wood chipper. They sanded off every edge of subtlety until all that was left was a pile of predictable jump scares and logic that completely collapses under its own weight. The original film is a masterpiece of ambiguity and dread. This film is a masterpiece of making you say, "Wait, what did I? Wait, what?" So let's dive into the shallow end of this cinematic gene pool, and we're gonna start to point out every mistake in the 2009's The Uninvited story. And let me just warn you that there are a tremendous amount of mistakes. This movie has more plot holes than Swiss cheese. Like it's impressively bad. So, step section one, welcome home to incompetence is what I'm going to call this. We open in a psychiatric hospital, and this looks suspiciously like, well, every other movie psychiatric hospital. It's a place where apparently it's totally cool for patients to just wander around, looking vaguely menacing for atmosphere. Our protagonist, Anna, is having nightmares about her terminally ill mother that died in a boathouse fire. This dream features a creepy, crawly, and I'm just going to call it what it is, a garbage bag ghost, and another girl who looks suspiciously like a plot device. How predictable. Anna's psychiatrist, she tells her she's ready to go home because she's stopped having the nightmares. And so apparently, in this movie, the cure for trauma induced psychosis is just a good night's sleep. And the psychiatrist's entire methodology to me, it just seems like he goes off based on vibes, which definitely dinging him for that on this review. He then delivers the profoundly irresponsible line of "It's time to finish what you started." Now, in any other context, this is encouragement, but in a psychological thriller, that's just practically a license to kill. What did he think she was starting? A knitting project? So then Anne is released after 10 months in the psychiatric hospital after a failed suicide attempt following her mother's death. And her father, Stephen, picks her up, and he's played by David Strathairn. I think I pronounced his last name right, but he's an award-winning actor who consistently looks like he's just remembered that he left the oven on. The car ride home is rather awkward, mostly because dad is driving and talking to Anna without even ever looking at the road. Like, I don't know how they made it home alive. Like, he should have smashed into something. Not once is this man actually paying attention to the road. And he's a bigger hazard than any ghost in this movie, in my opinion. So they arrive at their beautiful remote lakeside home, the kind of home that practically screams, horrible things are about to happen here. The first sign of trouble, the woods are lit like a Thomas Kincaid painting. There's more fill light in this forest than on a Michael Bay set, and there's zero chance of anything spooky happening in a forest this well illuminated. Anna enters the house, and she's immediately greeted by Rachel, her mother's former live-in nurse. And she's now very clearly her father's live-in girlfriend. Elizabeth Banks plays Rachel with a level of forced perkiness that oscillates wildly between doting stepmom and sociopath. Her very first interaction with Anna involves a sweaty post-run hug refusal, which is peak passive aggression, in my opinion. Dad announces they're having a welcome home party for Anna because what a fragile young woman fresh out of a mental institution needs is a loud social gathering with dozens of people judging her. Great parenting, Dad. Great parenting. Anna then reunites with her sister, Alex, who's played by Ariel Kebble, who embodies the early 2000s punk light aesthetic with impressive commitment. Alex is sullen, drinks from a flask, and immediately starts whispering about how evil Rachel is. The movie tries to establish a bond between the sisters, but unlike the original film where their connection is palpable and touching, here it very much feels forced. They barely seem to like each other, let alone have a connection that could anchor a major psychological twist, which I'm going to dig the movie for as that as well, as that is very poorly executed. And by the way, if you hear in the background my daughters, they're just watching a YouTube channel called Mikey and JJ, where they're going through and actually playing Minecraft. My daughters absolutely love Minecraft. So if you hear them, that's basically what they're doing. I have their artwork on the table here to display for you all to look at and admire. But that brings us to the back to the movie. So Alex immediately starts dropping bombshells, like how Rachel and their dad is doing horizontal mambo while their mom was still alive, and this is very much. It's obvious. It's very obvious that the dad was railing the nurse while the mom was alive, and this is presented as a shocking revelation, apparently. But let's be real: the nurse sleeps with the husband is one of the oldest and laziest tropes in the book. So I'm gonna ding the movie for that as well. The only ethical violation here is basically how unoriginal it is. And then we're gonna get to section 2 of my review: Ghosts of Plot Holes Past. The haunting actually begins now. Anna starts seeing visions, and the film's idea of a scare is to have the object appear very close to the camera, accompanied by a loud musical sting. It's less of a jump scare and more of a jump suggestion. So I'm going to ding it for repetitive PG-13 scare tactics. Anna has a vision of her sick mother who is ringing a little bell. And keep an eye on this bell because it's about to have a life of its own. In the first vision, the bell is clearly on the mother's left hand. Later, when Anna sees a vision of her dead mother in the boathouse, the bell has magically then teleported to her right hand. Is this a ghost bell with a mind of its own? Did her ghost mother decide to switch things up for ergonomic reasons, or is it just the kind of sloppy filmmaking that pulls you right out of the movie? So I'm going to ding the movie for that as well. So ding. Then we get to the famous keyhole. This one blew my mind. Anna looks through a keyhole and it starts bleeding. Not because of anything happening on the other side, but because the keyhole itself is apparently hemophiliac. This is never explained, by the way. It's never revisited, and it serves no purpose other than to make the props department feel like they actually contributed to something. So, ding. Anna's ex-boyfriend Matt shows up on a boat, and Anna goes to the dock to meet him. Right, and in a very clear shot, she meticulously ties his boat to the dock post. They have a brief, awkward conversation where Matt says he saw everything. The night of the fire, he apparently saw everything and he wanted to talk to her about it. But before he can elaborate, Rachel interrupts. Matt, clearly spooked, then decides to leave. He hops on his boat, starts the engine, and just drives away. And he does this without even untying the rope. The rope Anna just tied. Did he use a ghost cleaver to cut it? Did the rope, like so many other objects in this film, simply cease to exist when it became inconvenient to the plot? This isn't a nitpick. This is a fundamental violation of laws of physics. So, ding. And later, Anna and Alex receive a delivery of groceries. And the box is absolutely huge and supposedly filled with supplies. But Anna and Alex toss it around like it's full of styrofoam peanuts, which it probably was, by the way. This movie's props have a recurring issue with being weightless. It's the entire film. It's like the entire film is set on low gravity and where only certain objects are affected. So I'm definitely dinging them for that. This trend continues, and during the tense dinner scene, Anna bumps the dinner table and a whole roast chicken, which is clearly secured to the platter with four large metal prongs. It still manages somehow to roll off the table with the speed and grace of a bowling ball. It defies gravity and inertia, and it's sliding off as if it were greased with a 45-degree angle. This chicken wasn't just cooked, it was possessed. And Anna and Rachel then go into town for some force bonding. They're driving in Rachel's BMW convertible. An overhead shot, clearly shows that the car has a manual transmission. It's very obvious. You look at the stick shift, and you can see it in every manual car. The stick shift it shows you which where to shift the gears to hit first gear, to hit second gear, to hit third gear, blah blah blah, on and on. But anyway, later in the film, when Anna is trying to escape the house, she steals this very same car, right? And in this scene, it is now an automatic. We know this because the gear shift is completely different. And she has now put the car in park, a gear which in a manual transmission doesn't exist. And and she puts it in park, by the way, to restart it once it stalls. So, did Rachel get a new transmission installed in the middle of a psychological breakdown? Or did the transportation department just grab whichever BMW was available that day? So, while in town, they stop at dinner, or stop at a diner, not stop at dinner. Anna is having a drink with a straw in it. Between shots, without Anna ever touching it, the straw repeatedly changes its last position and orientation in the glass. It moves from the left side to the right, stands up straight, then leans again. Is it stirring the drink all by itself? Is this the work of a ghost from the boathouse, now reduced to performing minor poltergeist party tricks? It's another baffling, pointless continuity error that pulls you right out of the film. So now we're going to get to section 3 of our review. The investigation makes no sense. So Anna and Alex become convinced that Rachel murdered their mother. Their evidence? A few spooky dreams and the fact that Rachel is aggressively cheerful. It's flimsy, but it's all they've got. They decide to launch an investigation, which mostly consists of Alex trying to get a background check on Rachel while Anna tries to talk to Matt again. Anna rearranges, or sorry, Anna arranges to meet Matt late at night, so to finally hear what he saw. He never shows up, and the next day his body is found in the water. The police say he fell and hit his head and drowned. Alex immediately concludes Rachel killed him. Her proof? Absolutely nothing. Her conviction? Absolute. This movie's character operate on a level of intuitive leaps that would make Sherlock Holmes' head spin. But yeah, the sisters then decide their only hope is to find dirt on Rachel's past. They look her up with the state's nursing association, and they find absolutely nothing. So they conclude she must have be using a fake name. So this leads to that. Oh, and if here's my daughter Georgia, or sorry, this is my daughter Peyton. I just and she's very excited, and she just wanted to say hi to you guys. That's my 5-year-old. She's usually in school when I'm doing a live stream, but seeing as it's Saturday, she's home and she's watching R- Mikey and JJ. And as you can see, she loves to dance. But yeah, so once they find nothing and they conclude it's a fake name, this leads them to the film's central twist, destroying plot point: Mildred Kemp. They find an old newspaper article online about a nanny named Mildred Kemp who murdered the children she was caring for because she was obsessed with their father. The article includes a picture of Mildred wearing a distinctive pearl necklace. Here's where the entire logic of the movie implodes. First, the prop newspaper itself is a disaster. I don't know who made this thing, but it's full of errors. When Alex reads the article aloud, she says the phrase had become. But if you look at the text on the screen, it clearly contains the grammatical error had became. So not only is the is not so not only is the plot nonsensical, but the props are literally illiterate. And if you can see my daughter, she just absolutely loves to play games behind me. So hopefully you guys are enjoying that cute little girl dancing in the camera while you listen to a horror review. But second, the dates on this article, the dates are a mess. The article states that they find online is from 1996 and describes Mildred Kemp as being still at large. However, Anna had previously seen headstones for the children that were allegedly killed, and their death dates were listed as 1986. So it took the newspaper 10 years to report on these murders and declare the nanny is a fugitive? Did they use dial up to file this in the story? But the biggest and most unforgivable plot hole in this whole movie, the one that renders the final twist completely, utterly nonsensical, is this. The whole reason Anna suspects Rachel is Mildred is because she believes she recognizes her. The twist, as we'll see, is that Anna, at the end of the film, it's revealed that the real Mildred Kemp was a patient in the same ward right there with Anna, and she told her stories every freaking day. Like, let that sink in. Anna spent nearly a year in close proximity to the actual Mildred Kemp. She heard her stories. She knew what she looked like. She even got the pearl necklace from her. Yet, upon returning home, she somehow develops a case of targeted amnesia so specific that she forgets the face and name of a fellow patient, allowing her to mistakenly believe Rachel is the person. But it's a fellow patient she talked to every day for 10 months. She lived beside her every day for 10 months. It's not a plot twist. It's a plot aneurysm. The entire climax hinges on Anna not knowing who Mildred Kemp is, despite literally have been her neighbor in the loony bin. It's an impossible contradiction. A logical failure so profound that it retroactively invalidates every single scene that it follows. This isn't misdirection, it's just cheating. Like, I'm going to give that 3 dings. Like, that is just terrible. And let's talk about that pearl necklace while my daughter dances behind me. The real Mildred Kemp, a patient in what is presumably a high security psychiatric ward, is just casually allowed to keep a triple stranded pearl necklace, an item that, and by the way, this is Georgia. They're going to have a dance show for you. But yeah, like in a, in, so that, so with the pearl necklace, this is a high security place, right? But they're allowed to casually allowed to keep a triple stranded pearl necklace, an item that could easily be used as a weapon. What kind of facility is this? Like, what kind of security is this? This definitely isn't a high security, which it's supposed to be. Do they also let their patients keep their own scissors and chemistry sets? The lack of basic realism in the asylum scenes makes Shutter Island look like a documentary. In Shutter Island, the facility's rules and patients' delusions are internally consistent. Here, the rules are whatever the plot needs them to be in that exact moment. So we're going to get to section 4 now, the climax of Contravance. Armed with their flimsy evidence and reality-defying conclusions, the sisters now decide to confront Rachel. Stephen, the father, conveniently leaves on a business trip, leaving the 3 women alone in the house, who have never gotten along, by the way, because, of course, he does. His character exists solely to be absent when the plot needs him to be. Rachel catches the sisters trying to call the police on her. A struggle ensues, and Rachel manages to sedate Alex. Anna escapes and runs for help. This leads to a scene where she drives away in Rachel's magical automatic manual transmission BMW. She goes to the police station and tries to explain that her stepmom is a serial killer. The sheriff, who seems to have graduated from the same school of deductive reasoning as the sisters, doesn't believe her. He calls Rachel to come pick her up. So, a distressed young woman known with a known mental history of mental illness shows up claiming her guardian is a murderer. And your very first move is to call the alleged murderer to come get her. This isn't a police procedure, by the way, it's a plot device with a badge. Rachel then takes Anna home and puts her to bed. Anna sees Alex in the doorway holding a knife, and then she passes out because, of course she does. She wakes up to find a trail of blood leading downstairs, and then she follows it and finds Rachel's dead body in the kitchen dumpster. Alex is standing there holding a bloody knife and admits to the murder. And then the first big twist arrives. Stephen, the father, returns home to find this carnage. Anna then tries to explain that Rachel was evil and Alex had to kill her. And this is when the dad drops the bombshell. Alex died in the fire with your mother. Ding. Definitely dinging him for that. How predictable. Yes, Alex has been a hallucination the entire time. A manifestation of Anna's guilt and psychosis. This is a twist that many viewers saw coming from a mile away. If you're a regular enjoyer of horror movies, you've seen this coming. It's not a shocker. The film telegraphs it so obviously. Alex rarely, if ever, interacts with anyone but Anna. That's so obvious. She appears and disappears at will. She's less of a character and more of a walking, talking symptom. Better movies that use this trope, like Fight Club or The Sixth Sense, are masters of misdirection. They build a world with consistent rules and plant subtle clues that pay off on a rewatch. The Uninvited just has one character that talks to thin air for 80 minutes and hopes that you don't notice. The twist doesn't make you reevaluate what you saw. It just confirms that the movie was exactly as predictable as you thought it was. So dang. And let's think about that father for a second. I mean, this has to be the most unobservant father in the entire universe. He has a young teenage daughter that basically talks, screams at thin air, and just has like intense talk conversations with a ghost, and this father just never ever notices it. Like, you're not noticing that throughout an entire weekend she's screaming at thin air and talking to conceivably nobody, having intense conversations with a person who just is not there. I don't understand why they thought this was a good idea. Anna then looks in a reflection and sees that she's the one holding the bloody knife. She's the one who killed Rachel, and this is where the second, even more convoluted twist begins to unfold in a rapid fire montage of flashbacks that feels like a less like a shocking revelation and more like a movie is just now trying to figure out its own plot. And now we're gonna get to section 5, the the ending that ruins everything. The flashbacks reveal everything. And on the night of the fire, Anna came home to find her father and Rachel having sex. And enraged, she went to the boathouse where her bedridden mother was staying. She filled a watering can with gasoline, intending to burn down the main house. But the entire sequence of events that follows is a symphony of contrived stupidity. First, Anna leaves the spigot on the gasoline tank open, creating a trail of fuel that leads from the tank to the boathouse door. Second, as she's leaving, she just happens to knock over the lantern, which ignites the trail of gasoline. Third, her sister Alex just happens to be entering the boathouse at that exact moment, so she gets caught in the explosion along with their mother. The chain of coincidences is so absurdly specific that it feels less like a tragic accident and more like a Rube Goldberg machine of death designed by a lazy screenwriter. And the flashbacks also reveal that Anna killed Matt. When he told her that he saw what happened, she pushed him off a cliff. And then he broke his back on the rocks below before falling into the water. So Anna didn't just accidentally kill her mother and her sister. She then coincidentally murdered the one witness. This retroactively makes her consciously murdered the one witness, or this retroactively makes her crusade against Rachel not a tragic misunderstanding, but the calculated actions of a killer trying to cover her tracks. It completely undermines any sympathy we might have had for her. And the film then confirms that she hallucinated the entire Rachel is Mildred Kemp storyline. And let's just rewind that back a bit and think about the dad one more time. When it comes to the father, not only during a weekend, we now know not only was she screaming into thin air for an entire weekend, not only was she having intense hallucinations with with her sister and pretty much talking to absolutely nobody, having intense conversations with them, but she also murdered the neighborhood boy, and somehow the father doesn't know any of this. Didn't like he doesn't notice anything. But yeah, the so it's just like I stated, this movie has more holes than Swiss cheese. Rachel was just a nice woman who was genuinely trying to help, and the movie spends an hour and a half meticulously painting her as a sinister villain, having her say menacing things, giving her shifty looks, and even having her almost strangle Anna with a necklace, only to say "just kidding" at the end. This isn't clever storytelling; it's lying to your audience. In a good psychological thriller like the others, the final reveal illuminates everything you've seen before. Here, it just contradicts it. I don't know why the creators of this movie thought that contradicting everything that they just told you was a good idea. And the final fatal blow to the film's logic comes in the very last scene. Anna is back in the psychiatric hospital. She has a smug look on her face as she tells an orderly, "I finished what I started." Then a new patient is being welcomed into the ward, and she smiles at Anna. The name on her door, Mildred Kemp. She's even holding the pearl necklace. This is meant to be a chilling final twist, but all it does is hammers in and confirming the gigantic gaping plot hole from earlier. It hammers home the fact that Anna knew Mildred. She was her fellow patient. The movie presents this as a shocking reveal, but it's the very piece of information that makes Anna and Anna's entire motivation throughout the film an impossibility. She built an elaborate delusion around a woman whose name and face she was already familiar with, yet somehow forgot her long enough to project her identity onto somebody else. It just doesn't make sense. This is not how that works. The human psyche that's not possible. Like you need to make it make sense, and that just doesn't make sense unless it's 10-second Tom from 50 First Dates. This woman is going to remember a face that she has seen every freaking day for 10 months and had heard her stories every freaking day for 10 months. So it's a snake eating its own tail. The twist is supposed to blow your mind, and it's the very thing that proves that the story could never have happened in the first place. It's like finding out the murderer in the mystery novel was the narrator, but the narrator was on a different continent when the crime occurred. The logical paradox is staggering. So there you have it. A movie so committed to its twist that it's willing to sacrifice logic, continuity, and character consistency to get there. It's a remake that fundamentally misunderstands what made the original great, trading psychological depth for cheap, predictable thrills. If you enjoyed watching me tear this apart, this narrative mess, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Unlike the one in this movie, ours stays in one place. And let me know in the comments, by the way, what other cinematic disasters you'd like us to deconstruct. But the conclusion is The Uninvited isn't just a bad horror movie. It's a failed puzzle box. It shows you all the pieces but conveniently forgets that none of them are supposed to fit together. It's a film that desperately wants to be clever like Identity or The Sixth Sense, but it lacks the intellectual honesty to earn its revelations. It relies on twists that doesn't recontextualize the narrative but simply invalidates everything. The original film, A Tale of Two Sisters, is a haunting exploration of grief and trauma. This version is a checklist of horror tropes and continuity errors, ending in a conclusion so monumentally stupid it leaves you feeling not scared but cheated. The only thing uninvited here was logic. The final verdict? A film that should have been left in the asylum. Now, if you want to cleanse your palate after the logical dumpster fire of The Uninvited, you need films where the rewatch is actually better than the first viewing because the clues were hiding in plain sight. And I'm going to go over three movies that nailed the execution by respecting the audience's intelligence. The first one is The Sixth Sense. This is the gold standard for the I'm seeing things trope. Unlike The Uninvited, where characters just ignore Anna talking to thin air, this film meticulously choreographs every scene so that Bruce Willis never actually interacted with anybody but the kid. The detail in the dinner scene with his wife, she doesn't just ignore him, she is grieving in silence. He never pulls out his chair, and the bill is already on the table. Why it works? Every error you think you see in the first watch is actually a deliberate breadcrumb in the second watch. And then there's the others, which was made in 2001. This film offers a sophisticated approach to the haunting genre by employing an unreliable narrator. The detail in this movie is the character sensitivity to light that serves a purpose beyond a simple plot element. It can be seen as reflecting their inability to confront the reality of their situation, and why it works is the revelation within the story provides a sense of resolution to the mother's controlling behavior and helps the overall narrative make more sense, rather than leaving the audience with an unresolved question about character actions. And the third one I'm going to get to is the movie in which this remake was based off of, A Tale of Two Sisters. This is the original South Korean film that this later remake was based on. It explores the idea of a hallucinated sister with psychological depth. The detail in the movie, subtle visual cues, such as the sister's character consistently wearing the same clothing and not physically moving objects independently of the protagonist. It contributes to the unfolding storyline. And why this works, the discovery of the twist is conveyed through recurring visual elements like bloodstains and wardrobe choices, treating the theme of trauma as a complex element of the narrative rather than just a surprise ending. To make plot twists feel like a gut punch rather than a cheap shot, directors in these movies use visual sleight of hand. They show you the truth, but they use framing, color, and blocking to make your brain categorize it as something else. Here's how those top tier films visually manipulated you. One, the single perspective blocking, The Sixth Sense, and M. Night Shyamalan used a technique called constrained perspective. This technique throughout the film, Malcolm or Bruce Willis is never the first person to open the door. He always appears in the room after someone else has already entered. The Hollywood Reporter notes that he never moves an object that another living person interacts with. The clue? In the famous cold air scenes, only the living characters, the mother and Cole, show visible breath. Malcolm never does because he isn't breathing. Why it's better than the uninvited? With the uninvited, Anna moves boxes and handles objects that her father sees. In the Sixth Sense, the world remains completely undisturbed by Malcolm's presence. And color coding in the others, Alejandro Amenabar, yeah, that's his name. Used lighting and color as a physical barrier to the truth. The film uses light versus dark rule. The children are supposedly allergic to sunlight, which justifies why the house is perpetually shrouded in fog and heavy curtains. The ghosts, or the living family, are often associated with bright natural light and vibrant sounds, while Grace, or Nicole Kidman, is trapped in a muted, gray toned world. Empire Online highlights that the haunting noises are just sounds of a living family doing normal things, filtered through Grace's muffled, dead perspective. And the payoff on this, when the curtains are finally ripped away, the horror isn't light killing the kids. It's the realization that they have no physical form left for the sun to touch. Now, the wardrobe continuity in A Tale of Two Sisters. This is where the original Korean version destroys the 2009 remake. It uses wardrobe as a psychological map. So, this technique, the hallucinated sister, Soo Yeon, almost always wears the exact same floral dress or variations of it. More importantly, she is often framed as a literal shadow of her sister Sumi. The clue? In the scenes where both sisters are present, the camera often focuses on Sumi's face while Soo-yeon is blurred or partially obscured in the background. The British Film Institute points out that the stepmother never actually makes eye contact with the younger sister. She only screams at the older one. Why it's better than The Uninvited? Well, The Uninvited had the sisters having full blown physics defying conversations in front of people. In the original, the silence of this younger sister is a haunting clue to her non existence. Great movies use sound layers to separate realities. In the Sixth Sense, the others, in the Sixth Sense and the others, sorry, the ghosts have a different acoustic profile. Their footsteps are often silent or heavy in a way that doesn't match the flooring. If you watch these films with a high quality sound system, you'll notice that the living characters have room tone or background hum, while the ghost characters often exist in a sterile sonic vacuum. Great films use the first 10 minutes to train your brain to overlook the truth. While The Uninvited hides its secrets behind plot holes, these classics hide them behind cinematic grammar. and that's the best way I can actually explain that. That where the Sixth Sense, the one-way dinner, which is approximately 9 minutes and 30 seconds of the film. Following the prologue where Malcolm is shot, we see him at a restaurant with his wife Anna. Malcolm apologizes for being late, but Anna never actually looks at him, does she? Never speaks, and eventually just takes the check and leaves. The technical detail is if you watch closely, there is only one wine glass on the table. Malcolm never actually touches the table. He pulls out his chair, or sorry, he never actually touches the table, and he never actually pulls out his chair or makes a sound that Anna actually reacts to. The church guard at approximately 11 minutes. When Malcolm first meets Cole, the boy is in a church. Cole runs into the church not because he's meeting a doctor, but because he's terrified of a ghost. The camera stays at a predatory distance, making Malcolm look like a stalker rather than a therapist, a visual cue that he is an uninvited presence in Cole's world. Now I'm going to talk about the others again. The screaming awakening at 1 minute. The very first shot of Grace, or Nicole Kidman, is her waking up from a nightmare, screaming in a way that feels more like an existential agony than a simple bad dream. This is actually the echo of her moment of death when she took her own life after killing her children. The entire movie is essentially her denial feud purgatory. The stop breathing warning, or that's at approximately 8 minutes, when Grace scolds her daughter Anne for misbehaving and begins to breathe heavily. Grace then screams, "Stop breathing like that." This is a literal reference to how the children died suffocated by pillows. In a house of the dead, breathing is a traumatic reminder of what they can no longer do. In A Tale of Two Sisters, the psychiatrist's opening questions at 30 seconds, the 30-second mark, the movie begins in a mental institution with a doctor asking Sumi, "Who are you?" This is a direct nod to her dissociative identity disorder, or DID. He isn't asking for her name, he's asking which personality is currently present. The invisible sister at the wharf at approximately 6 minutes. After arriving home, the sisters sit on the wooden pier. Sue Mi reads her sister Soo Yeon's palm, and her face immediately falls. She's reading the palm of a corpse, in her mind anyway. She sees her sister, the father only ever calls out for Sue Mi to come back to the house, completely ignoring Soo Yeon's presence because she isn't there. In the first 10 minutes, when they get out of the car, Soo Yeon shakes her chair. A few minutes later, Soo Mi performs the exact same hair shaking motion in her room. Soo-yeon is just a physical projection of Soo-mi's own actions. They are literally the same body moving through the house. So that's the difference between a legendary movie or a classic that will always be remembered and how they do things to how The Uninvited desperately tried but horribly failed. And you're gonna say yes, there was spoilers in this movie or in this review, but I did that intentionally so that you don't have to watch the movie. I would actually suggest not watching this movie. I'm regretting I watched it myself. It was an absolute waste of an hour and 30-40 minutes, I believe it was, and that's an hour 30-40 minutes that I can never actually get back. But that's about it. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. So make sure you hit like, subscribe, and comment down below, and I will reply to every single comment. Thank you very much for watching my video, and I will definitely catch you guys on the next one. The next one is on Monday, I believe. I'll see you there.